City Council. You please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get roll call, please, Cindy?
Counselor Blevins.
Here.
Counselor Dolzall.
Here.
Counselor Hill. Here. Counselor McElroy.
Here.
Counselor Metcalf.
Here.
Counselor Tenbush.
Here.
Mayor Drinkwine.
Here. Thank you very much for that. Sure, you want to talk now before we, okay, go ahead. Jerry has something he wants to say before we.
The city, I might get emotional on this, because it's near and dear to my heart, but the city and this community lost a pretty upstanding citizen that was involved in sports. He was born and raised here. Jim Fullerton passed earlier this month. Jim was my cousin. Jim coached all levels of baseball from youth all the way through high school. He coached the high school for a couple of years. But he was he was a big part of, baseball in the city of Estacada, like I said, at all levels. Jim started back in the 90s, Jim started the Estacada Special Olympics program and helped run it for probably 15 years. But Jim's been involved with, everything in Estacada for a long time, and a great member of this community. And unfortunately, we lost him. But I just wanted to get that out there. But thank you, guys.
Thank you. We are at the first citizen and community group comment, and I have one on here so far. Shirley. What are we going to be talking about today, Shirley? Okay.
Kids, I should say.
All right.
Okay, I've been doing some work on the dog park to find out what it would cost to do ground cover and how many dogs come to that park. Okay, we have 6 dogs out of Whispering Pines alone that come to the Estacada Dog Park every day. I called Boyne Bark, which I've talked to Melody about, and for 4 yards of cedar chips, which we need because they don't stick to the dogs. They keep the mud out of the dog park. They keep the fleas off the dog. And for that, for $232, 4 yards, they will deliver it. And 1 yard covers 324 224 feet a yard, whatever. And so there'd be plenty of 4 yards would be plenty. And that's at 1.5 inches deep. This is designated as a grant with the Oregon State Park. When we got the grant for the park, that was designated that we had to have a senior area for seniors, which we did for a long time. We had horseshoe pits. Well, all the gentlemen and played horseshoe pits, and us that we got too old, quit playing, and so it needs to go into the dog park. And I don't know how many people, I haven't had a chance to go over to the trailer court and run a survey on that. But I see them coming across there all the time to play in the dog park. It is not too small. People go, well, it's so small, let's get rid of it. It's not small, it's made for small dogs, like your dog, whatever. And I think for that amount of money, we can afford to fix that dog park, finish it. We started out, we finally got rid of the horseshoe pits and everything, and the gravel. I mean, the gravel, a lot of people don't realize gravel's hot, sure, but gravel's small. When you get it in between these dogs' paws, they end up at the vet. And I think as far as working with these seniors, we need to start stepping up and working with the seniors and acknowledging the seniors as part of this town. So.
Okay, well, that sounds reasonable. We'll
Thank
check
you.
into that. Don't we have a deal where they come in and repack our child's area with wood chip? at some point in time?
Our parks crew does that, yes.
Okay, so during that time, couldn't we just,
We can check into it. Probably wouldn't use the same chips that I use for the. like,
Yeah, but if
It's not, but it's cheaper to go through boring bark than it is to take it in, because when we bring it into the main part of the player, it's blowing in.
Yeah.
That's more money.
well, we'll definitely check into it, Shirley. We will.
I'm sure I can get volunteers to bring the wheelbarrow and put it out there.
I think we can figure it out, but we appreciate you, Shirley. Okay, thank you. Anybody else online that would like to speak? No? Okay, that's all the forms I have in front of me, so we'll go into the consent agenda. You've all had a chance to read over the consent agenda, I hope.
I move to approve the.
All right, I got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
First and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Consent agenda passes. Thank you for that. Okay, moving on to department committee reports. I have the city manager's report first off.
Thank you, everybody. Which one? My dog? I don't think it is. There we go. All right, here we go. Okay, first, I forgot to put a slide in about this, so I'm going to say right up front so that I don't forget. But on October 25th, from 2 to 4, the trick or trot is happening up at Campanella Park. Somebody else may comment on that too, from being with Parks and Rec, but it is for, the race actually starts at 3 o'clock, I believe, and it's pre-K all the way up to kids of all ages. The highest category says 6th grade and up, so I don't know how far up that goes, but should be fun, and everybody should come in costumes. All right.
Okay.
Okay, and then I wanted to give you an update on the grants that we have been applying for and receiving. Some of these are already confirmed that we're receiving them, and then there's at least 1 or possibly 2 that we're still applying for. So this is the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department, and we were awarded a grant for $50,000 to update the Parks Master Plan. Our Parks Master Plan was written in 2018, and it is so much of that has been completed. It's plans are designed typically to be 20-year plans, but we have just cruised through that plan over the past few years. So we're going to do an update. The total estimated cost is around $90,000, and $50,000 of that will be funded by Oregon Parks and Rec. Pending paperwork and everything getting in place, we'll be putting out an RFP for a consultant in November. All right, and then we have we've been awarded ODOT's Transportation Growth Management Grant, and that's in the amount of approximately $225,000 to do an area plan for the mill mixed use area and the riverfront commercial zones. It's similar to the downtown, it will be similar to the downtown and Riverside area plan that we did back in 2011. And so we're really excited about this and this opportunity. It'll take a little while to get that going, but we're going to try and fast track it so that we'll be moving it forward. Okay, next, we applied for and have received a HAPO DLCD grant for housing, and it will assist us with a process that we were going through anyway, which would be phase 2 of our code amendments for housing. And that helps us with our clear and objective code and any legal code updates that we need to put in there. There's not a dollar amount, but they're working with Alan on the scope of it. And then, so that portion, I'm not sure if it'll be 100% funded, but they're still working out the details, but we won't have to pay for that phase 2 all on our own. So that's good news. And then we are applying for another DLCD grant. There's a new state requirement that is going in place. I can't remember when Alan said, it's in the next 2 or 3 years, that will need to do a local wetland inventory, whereas we usually just use data from other sources or overlays. So this grant will assist us with doing that local wetland inventory and also a TMDL, which is it's a stormwater plan, doing post-construction strategies. And that's why I have that photo there, because you can kind of see how that's Campanella, and they have areas for stormwater runoff where it doesn't just go down a storm drain straight to the river, but it allows it to soak into the ground and provide some other treatment, like surface treatment, before it gets out to the river. So that's part of the TMDL. We are needing to do post-construction strategies that's going to be required of us. And so this can help pay for that and also help us with public engagement for Goal 5, which is part of our comprehensive plan, and it's for natural resource preservation. So this is something the council is going to want to be involved in, but we'll do public engagement for that. So I'm fairly confident that we'll be able to get this grant. We probably wouldn't start working on it for a couple more years if it's awarded, but we're hoping they'll help us out with that. And then I wanted to do a quick code enforcement update because there's a full report in the consent agenda, but especially I know probably folks in the community who might watch the meeting, but don't necessarily read through the whole packet. So I just wanted to call out, you can see the chart there on the right that shows the different types of violations that have been worked on since April. There's been 181 code violation cases. It was about half and half officer or staff initiated and half complaints called in. There's 6 cases currently open and average response time of less than a day. Our code enforcement staff did partner with the city's contracted deputies to work on about 25 or over 25 of those cases. They also helped us to reach out to businesses when we started a new software program for licensing our businesses, which in the long run will be more helpful. But because of this new process, we were able to reach out to 71 businesses who were unaware that they were either unaware that they needed one or didn't know how to get one. And so she followed up with them and helped them to get their business licenses. And then also connected residents with resources, because sometimes there's situations behind what the violation is that require some additional assistance. And so she's able to help with that, working with nonprofits such as Love One, Ant Farm, and other community organizations. There's some church groups or things like that who will go out and help people out who are needing some help. And I also wanted to mention that if you read the report, talks about looking at ways to increase the capacity of that department, whether we need more staff or better, not just paper and pencil. There's some improved tools to do the things that she's doing. So she's looking into those, getting ready for our upcoming budget next year. But things are going really well, and I am really thankful for the work that they're getting done. Are there any questions?
So a couple on the business license one, 71 unlicensed businesses. Is there any idea of how long they were actually in business? Or is it just 1 year? And follow-on question would be then, how much in revenue is that? And then also, I'm just curious how many businesses there are in Estacada. I'm sure I've seen the number, I just don't know. But 71 seemed like a lot. And so the question back to was how long have they been in operation? And then on the bar graph one, the prohibited parking, was that citizens or did that include transient vehicles that we see over at Red Fox all the time?
That's all of them. It would include all of them that they were
So is
either
it
parked
broken out?
illegally or is it, pardon me?
So meaning like, do we have 2 citizens that had prohibited parking, but 89 transients? I'm making that up.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. I do not know how that was. I don't know how that was broken up, but parking complaints in the neighborhoods is one of the biggest complaints that we get. So I would guess that the majority of them are out in the neighborhoods or in the commercial district, but I could look into that. So I've got number of businesses total, how long were the unlicensed ones in operation? And I can tell you just off the top of my head that I know that some of them had been in business for a few years, and some of them were new, but I don't know what the breakout on that was, but I'll see how much data I can pull from that. But without this new program, which I know most people did fine with it, but there were some folks that struggled with having to go online and apply for the license that way to set up a new account. I know that's always annoying to me when I have to have one more account with something. But it helped us to really be able to track these better. And so that we can make sure that we're enforcing that equally. But I can get that information back to you about number of total businesses. And we'll see what I can find about the unlicensed ones.
Okay, a continuation on that.
Well, different topic, and I was just thinking about the grants, which are awesome. But I remember like a couple meetings ago, a great big grant for like $700 and something thousand came through, and that was going to be earmarked for the roundabout, I think, on
Mhm.
whatever. But then I started thinking, you know, there's a bunch of new ones. Does that money actually, I don't know how this works. Does that money actually come in and then we sit on it? And then I remember some other kind of grant or something that we were using for the mill property to help develop, and it looks like there's another one. And again, does that money accumulate, or does it, wait, I don't know how that works. And then how does it, and I also don't know how it works with a private owner. You could flesh
Mhm.
that out.
I am not sure which one you might be talking about for.
So
mill
the
previously?
mill site, the mill site is technical assistance. So we receive technical assistance through the U.S. Department of Transportation Thriving Communities Program.
Right.
And so they helped us actually for this one, they helped us write this grant and look at the part of this grant was a scope of work and evaluating how much things would cost and the timeline for that. So they helped us do that. And then they have also helped the property owner look at phase 2 environmental testing and how they would grid that out and where to do testing based on the previously done phase 1 environmental testing. So that's what that has already occurred
Right.
through that technical assistance, which is no money. That's funding did not come
Okay.
through. That's just people power. And then this one will create kind of a more of a strategic plan for the site as a whole, and then also the connectivity onto the highway and across to the riverfront commercial area.
Okay.
And that money doesn't actually come into us. That's.
Yep.
It goes straight from ODOT to the consultant, or as the project progresses. The other grants typically are coming into us and their reimbursement typically, so we don't just get a lump sum of money up front, but we have to actually be doing the project, and then they'll reimburse us for that.
And I'm sure there's a big spreadsheet that has all that.
Oh, yes. So we have a wonderful finance director.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Jonathan, do you have something?
Yeah, semi-unrelated, but I'll start with the one that's more close. It's just a two-part thing. One was on the grants. Thank you for the update on them. It's cool to see that we have stuff coming for the technical side. Do we have any updates on grants that materialize into playgrounds or anything physical versus just planning? Are we going after any grants that are more than planning for the community, but that are actually building in the community?
Yes.
And then the second part of my question is, where is the law enforcement officer that we asked for in this room? I would like to see that addressed. I'm tired of not seeing it.
I need to remind them because we have new Deputy Bigler. I've been here for a long time and always remembered. And so I need to start remembering to remind them and get that in their calendar. And as long as they're not on a call or something, they're happy to be here. I just need to remind them because they are brand new. So I can
Okay,
do
well,
that.
for the instance of safety for the community and for everybody sitting up there, I would like to make sure that's addressed going forward from here on out.
Thank you. I will take care of that. And then as far as the other one, the, like in the real world grants, that $700,000, it was actually, what was it? 800?
$790,000, so almost $800,000. That pays for the physical building of the roundabout.
the
That does not
roundabout.
pay for the planning of it. That pays for the
Yep.
concrete,
Con-
asphalt, that. And then we did apply for, but were unable to complete the process for building the Lakeshore Trail. So the first phase of that to build the river access. There was some issues with the agreement we had for a piece of the land. So the community center owns it. They're giving it to us. We thought the agreement to sell it to us would be good enough for the grant. And then they came back and they're like, no, you actually have to have the deed in hand. And so that's going to take us a few more months to complete that process. We'll reapply next year.
That was for $1 million.
That was
we
for
were
$1 million
asking.
for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. I was just asking
Yep.
on that end.
Any other questions?
Okay, clarify the roundabout is, I heard Siger murmured in the back of the room somewhere. It's actually for the roundabout that's going to be going at the intersection of River Mill Road and Eagle Creek Road. So it's inside city limits.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, is that all you have?
Okay, that is all that I have.
All right, and before we go on, I told Melanie that I was gonna be talking about but I want to talk about traffic and public safety as a whole in this city. We have a major problem with speeding, accidents, and so on. Now, nobody's been killed yet that I know of as a child, but I don't want to get there. And we're having more and more issues. I see it every day. I want us to put more emphasis on traffic and public safety as a whole. I want us to get serious. I want things to start happening. I want to see more signs, more speed humps, more everything. That's going to take all of us to make that happen. I want to see us expose traffic safety on our newsletter. I looked at our newsletter in the water bill. All the committee and commissions are posted on there except for traffic and public safety. The times that it has its meetings, everything for people to be there. I want us to push that forward. I want to see more of this. I want us to concentrate on this before we move forward. We're talking about all these new developments. We're talking about all these new areas, the mill site and everything, but we're not solving the problem we already have. I was just over in Sandy today, going to an appointment I had, and I came to the intersection of Fred Meyer and the highway there. There was a 3-car pileup right in the middle of the highway. And we had 1 fatality and 2 injured. One of them from Estacada area. I don't know if you guys know that Elk electric bull. He was one of the cars involved in it, and it was serious. And when I looked at that, I'm thinking, this is getting ridiculous. We're not solving this problem. We're talking about it and we're wanting to put money behind it, and we're waiting. Next budget cycle, we'll see if we have enough. It's past that. It's not a budget cycle I want to see anymore. It's money on the ground. I want to see these signs in place. I want to see the speed humps in place. I want to save a child before this happens. So I want us all to focus on this the best we can in the going forward here to make it happen. Not just to talk about it, not just to figure out where we're going to pull the money, but to actually put it on the ground. So I'm asking you tonight, and I'm putting it in this, and I'm putting it on record, so we all are on the same page, I hope, with this, because it's just getting too serious for me. I see it every day. And I don't want us to be facing something that's big and horrible. And it will happen. It will happen. It's only when. I want to make sure it doesn't. So I kind of wanted to fit that in between everything here. I hope that's okay. And we'll get on with the rest of the meeting. But thank you. All right.
Signs supposed to be posted around town. I mean, I remember this very group of individuals sanctioning drive safe campaign.
We did.
Okay, so why are they not on public ground? Why are they not out front? I guess I see them around town, but they're not. Where are they out here? What are we doing as a city to do this? This is my questions for what you're saying.
and
How are
you're-
we setting that precedence? if
You're
it's not on
absolutely
water?
right. And I can't blame anybody but myself because I'm not making it happen.
Okay.
I'm up here. I mean, we're all up here, right? So I think at this point in this challenge that we've come across, we've got to show some responsibility and put this on the ground. This is,
Traffic and
Now-
public safety has gone back to 2017 on things we're getting behind on, and we have all this development. We need to start. I mean, all these developments are prettier than our town, and that's not acceptable, and it's safer than our town. You can drive to Colton, which is significantly smaller than us, and see better road signs and better direction than we have in our city. So
I feel you, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. So I just want us to emphasize that. That's the key here. That you all realize it is great. We're already one step ahead, but we've got to make it happen. This is the point we're at.
So what do
So-
we do to make it actionable?
I think putting priorities. If we have to pull certain things from the budget, if we have to figure out how we're going to make an amendment to our budget, whatever it takes to get some of this on the ground now, we have to show the people that we are focused on the safety of our people in the city. And I think this one, more than any other, has become more apparent every day. Last week, I heard 3 accidents in the same highway, same place. Really? Why? Why is this happening? Signage. Signage is the key here. Signage, speed bumps, all that add into it. I know it seems like a challenge. It's going to seem like a financial challenge because I don't know where we're going to pull it from either. And I'm sure the city doesn't either. But at the same time, I think we have to start focusing on that. I think it's past the point of just waiting until the budget cycle gets to next year and we'll see if we can fit it in. It's not going to happen. We've got to get it now. So I'm hoping that by bringing this forward like this in a way that says, hey, action now, we can start this.
I'd be interested in an executive session if that's what it takes. I mean, let's.
And I think that's something we can set up if that coming forward in the
second
near
that.
future.
I don't.
Melanie?
This is very timely because as we speak, there's speed humps being put on Pierce along the backside of the school block. And then I wasn't sure how fast that was gonna happen, because it was part of a larger project as well, but there'll be additional speed humps going in out on Sweetwater, which is a long straightaway. And then another one on Hillway, that was needed prior to, like, if you're coming from Cemetery, just before you hit Forest Park, there'll be another one added in there. So I think we're trying to keep up with this and really make good adjustments, but this kind of support is really fantastic. It's what we need to drive it forward and continue. And I think if the town knows, this is your priority and they see it happening on the ground out there and they hear it talked about here and they see the signs, and we got it on our reader board over there, drive safe. And I see them all around town. That's the goal, really, to get those around town, wherever anybody's at, to see those little signs that just, even if it's subconsciously, they'll see drive safe and slow her down a little bit, maybe.
And where are we at with the electronic signage? I've seen the light up solar ones that are around and they're really making a difference. They light it up. I can see that when I'm coming down the road. That's perfect. I go over to Sandy, they've got a lot of those too. But can we get more of those?
For like light up speed signs?
Yeah, for when you're coming in on some of these busier streets that are like, I'll give you an instance, 4th Avenue, where just off of where I live.
Mhm.
People come up and down that road going 60, 70 miles an hour, testing their engine, but it'd be nice to have a light up on there that says, hey, slow down.
Mhm.
But key areas like that where we're having speed issues, getting some of those out there.
Yep, that is on the list. And so I can't see those are being installed as we speak, but we are moving forward and we do need that support.
It'd be nice for that, the speed sign that's, just past Cemetery on 6th, to be moved further back because, people are still, by the time they hit Cemetery, they're still at 50 miles an hour. They don't slow down till they pass Cemetery, and that's very dangerous spot because a lot of people exit that way, and that's coming right into the area where the school buses are and in the morning. So I mean, and it's all hours of the day, not just during any particular hour. It's all hours, people coming down Curran, and they're still at 50 miles an hour by the time they pass Cemetery.
Those on Matthew.
So we talked about like the thing out at the park, talked to the new chief, and I know we got a new chief, and so there's that transition. But the traffic enforcement group, we've talked about that. How hard would that be to get them there and put them in a key location or multiple? I don't know how long of a time span they're available. I don't know if that's an extra budget expense, or I don't know how that works, but just doing it. And then kind of a corollary to that, because I remember the previous chief said they're very good at what they do. And so and I'm making this number up, but let's say they write 100 tickets. So where do those people go when they get their 100 tickets? Do they just mail it in? And how does that part work too? And then finally, and I don't know if this is something we can like get firm dates and stuff on in an executive session, but what criteria to start looking at another FTE, and we've talked about this, another law enforcement FTE, or maybe 2 at a time, or whatever it looks like, and getting those criteria in, because it's an 18-month turnaround to get a new deputy. And so, we're looking for at 2027 for a new one anyways. If we did it like right now. So, how do we, it is a frustration. We've got all these ideas and it just seems to be really difficult to move things along. And I'm really interested in this arena, traffic and public safety, of actually getting something done faster, getting things done faster.
Yeah, and maybe the answer to that is we've done joint workshops with all the committees at one point or another. I personally think whatever we do next needs to have traffic safety in the room with city council, with their lists of areas of action and things that we need to look at. So we've got a better idea of what's going on out there also, since they've done the work already, and see if we can get something on the ground now. Matthew had something.
Yeah, I just wanted to double tap on the executive session because this has been going on since I took on city council as well. And things are getting done, but at a very slow pace. And going back to 2017, Cemetery and Curran has been on the books for a long time. We have an excessive amount of people coming in here. We've talked about having speed change signs. Every city around here has speed change signs because you go into a small city, speed drops. So an executive session to get this squared away and start seeing things happen, I feel is extraordinarily important.
My kids.
I think it'd just be better to have that discussion in public where it's open to everyone in the community. If we want them to feel informed about what we're discussing, having an executive session where they're shut out from it, I don't think that'll benefit us very much. I guess what's the benefit of the executive? I don't understand the,
Wondering if you're meaning a
What?
work session.
Yeah,
Is-
maybe a
is
work
that what
session.
you're meaning?
No, I'm thinking executive session so that we don't have to wait on a 2-week thing. I'm more than happy to share with the public what we decide, but me personally, I'm interested in measurable goals, timelines, and then what that looks like going forward and who do we hold accountable if it doesn't happen?
Yeah, and I'm with you on that, but I think, could we do a session with a workshop that is off kilter? It's not,
Yes.
call it before the city council, I mean, like in between, so we have
So like on an alternating Monday?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just
A
have
special work
them in
session.
the room and the public and everything, and we don't have to call it an executive session, but we've got all the feedback at one time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Executive
something.
sessions have very specific
They do,
rules
they do.
regarding it, and you could not, this would not be an executive session.
Yeah, I was looking at it, that's why I didn't
Okay.
call it exactly that.
I'm
But-
happy with whatever.
Okay, that worked for you?
Yeah,
All right.
we're gonna do something like that and bring the public in. We need to get that blasted all over because there's so many people that, I mean, that's basically the only thing people come in here and talk about anymore. So that's a good idea to have a lot of people present, but I also think that an executive session afterwards would be a good thing to do so that, like Jonathan said, we can sit down and make the goals and discuss what we had heard in the workshop.
Okay. I'm game with that. I think that
I think you just want to maybe read in and clarify what executive sessions are used for, because I don't think it's gonna, I don't think the executive session can be a part of it.
no, we're taking that out.
Okay, yeah.
We're taking that out. We're
Yeah.
going, we're going to more of a public.
Yeah. Public
type.
workshop, yeah.
So you're saying you want to do this before your next meeting? So
Yes,
like
we'd like
next
to, if
Monday?
that's possible.
Like next Monday, then, because you're
Do you want to,
regular.
do you want to do it Tuesday? Because the Traffic and Public Safety Committee is already meeting on Tuesday. So
That's
maybe,
interesting.
because they start at 6.
That would probably be good. They have time to go over their material and make sure they've got everything in play to come before us and give us kind of some insight. Does that work for you? All right. I think that could work. Does it work for all of you? Would you feel receptive to that? I know it's a holiday.
If everybody
on it,
can't,
but
if everybody can't make it, if at least a quorum of you could make it to
Yeah.
discuss with them and.
I'll be there, but I might be a little late.
I just don't know how it works. I mean, can you set timelines and that kind of stuff in a workshop, or does that kind of thing have to happen in a council meeting?
You can instruct staff to take certain actions in a work session. It doesn't have to be in a city council meeting. What you can't do in a work session are things like adopt ordinances, change code.
part of it.
But if the plan is to set priorities and identify schedules for things to happen and instruct staff to come back to you with X, Y, and Z, then that can all happen in a work session.
All right.
Thank you.
So that works for everybody. We're good.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay, let's,
What date? We got next Tuesday?
Next
That
Tuesday?
is, yes, the
6 p.m.
21st. Is that the 21st? I believe it is.
okay.
Is that
Thank you.
7 p.m.?
They
After the
start at
meeting?
6 o'clock, but we could set it for 7 if that would help the rest of you to get here. in
6 is
time.
good for me.
Jim, can you come up to the mic?
Six.
Started out at 6 with the work session.
6 is fine, but I'll be driving up for Corvallis at 4, so
That's fine.
maybe a hair
Yeah.
late,
Okay,
but
okay.
I'll be
Yes.
here. 6 is fine.
I mean, we're throwing it on them. I want to give them
Yeah,
some
yeah.
time to prepare.
I'm with you.
So So if we let you guys have your, start your meeting at 6.
Yep.
Is there an amount of time that you'd feel comfortable before we came in and started the work session? Do you need an hour? Do you need so I don't want this just to be thrown on you guys. I want you guys to be able to prepare for, prepare for it.
We have about 13 topics we're discussing. I think we could narrow it down to an hour. We get it moving.
So let you guys start your meeting at 6, then we come in at 7 to start the workshop.
I'm sure we can do that.
Yeah, like I said, I just didn't want it thrown right in your lap, in the beginning of your meeting
This
with,
is for Monday you're talking about?
no, Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
Yeah, so their meeting starts at 6. Give their committee time to actually prepare for us to come in. And then we come in at 7 and have our workshop.
And how much time do you guys need?
Well, after we rough you up, probably not very much.
I can handle it. I can take it.
I think we're ready to make decisions. We're ready to make stuff, make stuff happen. So, that's why.
All right. We can get you all those lists. That shouldn't be a problem. What Council Blevins was talking about.
Okay.
For you guys, that's not a problem.
Can I make a recommendation? The fact that we have Halloween right around the corner and children are all on the roads, can we at least, if we don't come to a heat, and obviously it's not gonna happen overnight, have like a committee that volunteers to be like in the streets the evening of?
Oh, for Halloween?
Yes,
Oh, there will be.
okay, I wasn't sure.
Connie Redmond usually puts that together.
That's
She's pretty
awesome.
good at it, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Well, for the
Creepy crawl.
creepy crawl downtown,
yeah.
not in the neighborhoods.
Mm. All of the above, honestly, like I've seen it, I've been out driving around and it's kind of daunting.
We just don't have a large enough volunteer pool right now to,
Yeah.
to cover all that ground. We would have to just, ask the people in the neighborhoods to police their own and, which I know the folks out in Campanella are doing an amazing job of that. But again, my neighborhood and Campanella are the only neighborhoods that I drive through. So those are the two that I see,
Do we have a relationship with whoever the neighborhood watch is? Does traffic and public safety have relationships?
How many active neighborhood watches do you have?
One right now, it's
Just one.
Campanella. Yes.
Okay.
Well, that might be a route. Maybe we ask neighborhood watch to get involved,
Yeah.
to go outside of their community if we only have one. I don't know the legality on any of that, but if we have more adults watching, helping make sure that kids are safe, I think
Right.
everybody would be 2 thumbs up.
Definitely.
Okay, I think we've got a plan.
Excellent.
All right.
See you next week.
Thank you. Not right now, not right now. Wait, I'll get you. Okay. All right, moving along. We are at committee and commission liaison report. So any of you have any groups you'd like to speak on that you? Jerry?
I just want to give kudos to the Downtown Estacada Commission on another amazing Oktoberfest. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it, but I talked to a lot of people that did go, and it was a great time. Great time had by all. I understand there was over almost 800 people that attended, which is pretty great and pretty amazing. And the food trucks were. The food vendors were prepared this year. Nobody ran out of food, which was great. Boring Brewery came in and handled, the alcohol side of things. And everybody had a great time. There was nothing disastrous that happened. Alcohol monitors were felt empowered, and they did not feel, any threat when they had to, tell people, sorry, you can't go out of this area with alcohol. So it was a great event, and I look forward to it getting bigger and bigger every year. Sounds like they're going to be creating buttons for the folks that like to travel around the state and go to all the Oktoberfests. They're going to be creating some buttons for that event without years on it, just that can be used every year. So, but yeah, just kudos to them for another great event.
Great. Thank you for that. Anybody else?
We pretty much covered traffic and safety.
Okay.
I got to enjoy Oktoberfest too. It was great. Wish they'd figure out the line for the pretzels and the cheese, but but it was a great turnout. It was really good down there. I had a good time. My family had a good time down there. Got to see a lot of people over there. Appreciate Connie and all the rest of the volunteers that put all the work into that and the committees that worked on that. The Economic Development Committee had the Industrial Campus Career Day on September 25th and had almost 200 students. I was over 200 that signed up. I think there was pretty close to 200 that came out and made the tour of different facilities down in the industrial park, getting some exposure to different career opportunities for them, just opening their minds up to things that are possible to do while staying in the town that they grew up in. And so it was really neat seeing John LaGarza. I just want to give a shout out to him. He is one of the most amazing people at just putting things together. He does a really good job. So he's a hard worker, got a very great network of people. Mr. Stahl from the Planning Commission came out and just helped out with the kids and herding them different places, getting them fed and getting them to the different stations. So it was just a really good turnout. I was excited to see that there's that much excitement from the youth at the high school with the CTE program, and would love to see Clackamas County partner with the high school, or the high school stand up a strong CTE program of their own, whatever that looks like in the next few years, to get those kids fed. They're hungry for learning it, and just give them the opportunity to go and learn what they want to learn. So.
Good. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right, moving along. Now, we have a weird thing here. We're going to open the public hearing from what I understand, but the person who was going to speak on that is not going to be here tonight, so I'm going to leave it open, come back into the city council. Is that right?
You're gonna continue it to October 27th.
All right. So I will now open the public hearing. We will continue to October 27th.
Yes.
And I will leave it open, and then I will come out of it back into the city council, and we're good. Is that right?
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Want to make sure I did that right. Okay. Okay, we are on to council business.
1 second.
Yes.
Is there value? I spent a lot of time deep diving on the Ammon Heights thing. And so is there value in talking about the questions I've got now? Or should I wait until October 27th?
So
Wait.
so you need to wait. The applicant requested the continuance, is my understanding, and they're not here to hear your questions. I mean, they may be watching, but it'd just be better if you waited.
Okay.
Write them down.
We
Don't worry.
requested, I should correct that. We were actually requested it, but they agreed to it. So they weren't opposed to waiting by any means. And they'll be prepared to answer all those questions next time, but our staff person is sick, so
Okay.
didn't want to
All right.
move forward with that.
Is that okay with you? Bill?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
He's ready. He's ready. Okay, great. So that one I can check off. Next on the list, I have ordinance 2025-004, and ordinance amending title 16, development of the Estacada
Actu-
Municipal Code.
Let's do the waiver.
Oh, waiver request. Okay, underground power requirement
Yes.
at
Paris is
3,
here to
yeah,
speak on.
okay, 381 South Broadway. Go ahead. Step up.
Yes, so come on up, Paris. So Paris is here to request that. Her email is included in the packet. According to the Estacada Municipal Code, undergrounding utilities is required for building or remodeling an existing building. But the city council, just reading from the code, city council upon appeal is authorized to grant a variance in the requirements of this section when application can show that by reason of a peculiar and exceptional conditions, that strict application of this section would result in real and unnecessary hardship. And so the council may grant the variance as long as they determine that it won't be detrimental to the welfare of the city.
Okay, so why don't you explain?
Yeah. Hi, you guys. I'm Paris. Nice to see you all again. We were graciously awarded a grant to expand the commercial space that is currently above Estacada Athletic Arts, 381 South Broadway. It is the Oregon Main Street Revitalization Grant, making sure I'm saying it right. And when we applied for that grant, we had asked for the full grant amount, which was $400,000 in grant funds. And then there is a 30% match requirement for a total. We expected the project to be approximately $500,000 in total. Everyone reviewed and voted, and they decided to share between us and the Kyle's tax building on the other side of the street, which is fantastic. Super excited to see that get a facelift. That took the grant award amount down to $250,000. And it gave Kyle 150. So we are already potentially not able to do the project. I have sent Elena a tremendous amount of emails about how I can use, like, it's really hard to walk away from putting more commercial space in downtown Estacada with $250,000 that comes from lottery dollars, right? Like, what a cool thing for Estacada. Also, like, we are stuck. So adding the requirement of also putting the power underground makes the project impossible. The project already feels slightly impossible, but we're trying really hard to cut corners and make it work where we can. And my contractor thinks that it's going to be so tight, but probably doable with the cash funds and the grant. Again, like, I've talked to my contractor, I've talked to PGE, and we just won't be able to use the grant funds if we have to put the power underground. It's like very simple. Just won't be able to do it.
How much was it?
Well, I didn't have them come out and quote it because we don't even have 20, like they were saying probably between $50,000 and $70,000 to do all of the work. There's it used to be a grocery store. So if you've lived here long enough, or if you're familiar with the history, it used to be a grocery store, which means there's like a ton of power. It isn't just like one little sub panel for like a little boutique or something. It's a lot of power, and there's 3 giant breaker boxes and all kinds of like refrigeration stuff upstairs that has all this power running to it. And so when I talked to them and they were like, probably between $50,000 and $70,000 is like what you can rough guess. I was like, if it was 15, we wouldn't have it. So like, really, I mean, I didn't want to waste their time and have them come out and put more information together. But like I said, if it was 15, it would also knock us out. Like, we are so tight to do the 250 plus the 30%, but that's where we're at.
Any other questions up here to that?
I'm not familiar with, I don't know if I was on the council when we did this.
This was submitted by the Downtown Estacada Commission to the Oregon Main Street program. And then we approved it. It wasn't very long ago. We approved their 2 candidates to be pushed forward to the Oregon Main Street program, and they were awarded the
It's for historical preservation and
It didn't really
expansion.
have to go through us. You didn't-
Okay,
It's
no,
not-
Yeah, yeah.
fine. I don't.
It's
yeah,
not city
didn't know about it.
funds.
Yeah.
Right? It's not city funds, but again, this is one of those grants that's bringing, into the real world stuff.
And so
It's a lottery
What I-
dollars.
I thought I heard was there was a $400,000 grant, and now it's a $250,000.
it was a $400,000 grant in
Request.
total. And we submitted 2 applicants to the Oregon Main Street program. Estacada Athletic Arts was awarded $250,000. And then
Okay.
the tax building was awarded $150,000.
Mhm.
Both are well deserving
Sure.
of it.
That's not the question. It's
yeah.
really what I thought I heard, though, was the estimated cost of the project was 500.
Yeah, so I'll clarify this. So when we submitted the request to the Downtown Estacada Commission before it went on to the state for approval, my proposal was for the entire grant. That commission decided to divide it between 2 and submit 2. So we knew when we got the 250 mark that was going to be like pushing it, because we knew it was going to take at least 400.
And so I don't know
500.
how it works. Do they do a proposal, we're gonna do this, or this is the plan, or something like that? And if the plan is based on $500,000, how, or whatever the dollar amount is, the plan has to be adjusted.
It has been.
And so how does that compare to what the original submission was? And if the submission is so different because of the dollar amount, is it still valid?
Well, we're just doing things like this particular historical grant has us like restoring historical windows. So like the windows in the back of the building, real life example, are wood frame windows and they're rotten and they leak water. And so part of the original grant agreement was that if we did anything to the windows, we would have to have them popped out and sent to a restoration company and restored, and then put back in the original windows to preserve the history. But now I'm just keeping the rotten windows. Like, and I'm still just focusing on getting the additional commercial space and we'll like come back to that in the future when we can afford to come back to that. So it doesn't change the entire scope drastically, but there are things that we are going to have to do differently now than when we originally proposed, but it still meets the requirement that we would be a recipient of the funds.
I was just going to comment. So the grant still appears to be going forward at this point.
Mhm.
And the question to the council is just whether to grant the variance for not having to underground the power, which at this point comes off the alley into the back of the building. Anything that was that came off the Broadway street front when we redid Broadway, those all got undergrounded as part of the project, but there's still a few on the come off the alley, and that building happens to be one of them that's just coming overhead out of the alley.
Okay, I got one question before I hand it off to you. What is that upstairs going to be used for once you do this?
Well, we don't know yet. It will either become an extension of our current business or it will be space available to another business. We've talked to a handful of other businesses that are interested in using the space for a variety of things. If the jujitsu and MMA community continues to grow and thrive, there's a possibility that we need the space up there. We'll just have to see. It's a 3-year-long plan, so I'm trying to not get too excited or committed to any one specific idea because a lot can change in 3 years. So by the end of 2028, when like the grant comes to finish, like who knows what I don't know, like who knows what's going to be like knocking down our door, or what the city's going to need, or what we can do to offer.
I'm all for the growth and everything. My struggle with this is, and I'm just gonna be direct with you because I feel like that's a respectful thing to do.
Mhm.
We don't have a hard number, like even on what it would cost. You're not sure exactly what direction you're going. And then if I'm to be
Yeah.
frank with you, if we were to waive this requirement for you, then we would be expected to do that elsewhere if somebody can't. And not to say who missed it or how it got missed, but in the preliminary, when we're looking at doing this, I would think that we would have checked the code to see that this would be something that would be addressed. Like, I have a deep respect for what you're trying to do, but I have a hard time trying to waive something that might have just been overlooked. I mean, if that's the difference maker in the cost of the project, I struggle with.
Well, I don't think that's the difference maker. I think the difference maker was that
You said if we
original
don't approve it, you can't do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean,
That would be a difference maker to me.
but the original difference maker was if we ended up receiving the full grant funds, the $400,000 that we had originally written in the proposal, then we probably could have put it. Like there probably would have been some additional funds that we could have allocated toward it, but because we only received the 250 of the total 400 available, that's just the reality of the situation. So if the council votes it down, then we'll just give the grant money back. I mean, is what it is.
All right.
I just want to take note, this is like the first time we've seen this though with restoration and a historic, like, have we done this
We've
any
done it
other
before.
time?
Yeah, we received the same grant, and we redid the Mossy Rock building.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't.
Oh,
aware.
that was, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2019, I think.
Okay. All right.
And I support.
I also think I know you say that if you do it for this building, you have to do it for all the other buildings, but I will also say like, there's only a handful of buildings left that have not underground power. And the city did pay for the other buildings to get their underground power. It wasn't put on the individual business owners. There's only a few of us business owners that it wasn't included in the Main Street and the Broadway program. So there's just like a handful of us that are like being asked by the city code that was recently changed, right? Like in just the last couple of years.
No.
It's been in there for a long time. So, I mean, there's only like a handful of us left that are like,
On Broadway, because the Main Street was not undergrounded. So just on Broadway, there's only a couple
a couple left. Yeah.
on that block.
So,
We chose not to underground it in Maine because
Because it
of
was-
expense.
It was going to be like
And-
$3 million.
Yes.
cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Jerry, you got something?
I'm just trying to think of how to word this. So, is it just a Broadway? Is this code just
No,
for
the
Broadway or
code
is it all
applies to the
downtown?
entire city. So it even applies to residential. So if people do residential improvements on their house that are over the trigger point, which is $25,000, then they are also required to underground.
You know, I have a hard time putting an expense on a business owner that we didn't even incur upon ourselves during our Broadway or our Main Street revitalization. So I would be for the waiving or for, taking that part out of for this particular project. I would hate to see the state funds go away because of, like I said, pushing a cost on a business owner that we didn't even take upon ourselves. So
I get that.
Okay. Well, it's up to council. I mean, if this is something that you feel strongly about,
how would this motion need to read?
Would either be a motion to approve the variance request or to deny the variance request.
I move to approve the variance request.
And second that.
have a first and a second. All those in favor? In fact, we'll do a roll call vote on that.
Counselor Blevins,
Yes.
Counselor Dolzall,
No.
Counselor Hill. Yes. Counselor McElroy,
Yes.
Counselor Metcalf,
No.
Counselor Tenbush,
Yes.
Mayor Drinkline.
I'm gonna say no.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, paper's done.
Yep, you can go.
Okay. Now moving on to ordinance 2025-004, an ordinance amending the Title 15 development of the Estacada Municipal Code. This is a big one. We've been here before.
It is.
So-
I don't know if you just want to start out, or if you want me to just present the ordinance?
Why don't you present it,
then-
and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so this ordinance that is here, number 2025-004 is what the council requested that we bring back at your last official meeting that we had. It includes the conditional use for cannabis in the M1 zone. It increases the odor control and the inspection capacity, and it updates the definitions. So this is pretty much what this is exactly what the council had asked for previously, so it could just be approved as it is presented, and then we go on to talk about the next steps in C. But unless you have questions or feel that we did not bring it back as you requested.
Council, questions?
No, look good. Look good to me.
Yeah.
There were some changes that happened in, can you give us an update on what the OLCC, what they found out about the OLCC?
Yeah, maybe that I will go ahead and hand to Carrie, and how that would.
Sure, so the OLCC is a sort of secondary question about putting it on the ballot, the prohibition. And you'll remember that at the last meeting, we talked about concern about how the grandfathering would work for existing businesses. Missy Ryan in my office reached back out to OLCC director and got an opinion that non-conforming existing processing will be allowed to continue and will be allowed to get licenses. The important caveat with that is that this is, again, a employee of OLCC, so it is not binding on this, on anyone if the ballot measure passes, a business after that date, existing business goes and gets their annual renewal, and OLC says, sorry, there's a ban on processing in Estacada. We're not going to renew this license. So what we have is the directors saying that they understand that these businesses will be able to continue. If the city council feels like that's sufficient and does want to move forward with us putting forth a proposal to put it on the ballot, we can do that. The second alternative would be to ask the Attorney General for an opinion, which would be a more formalized determination that again, it would just be a matter of our office reaching out to them. I don't know whether they would issue an opinion or not, but we could try, which would give you more certainty. I mean, certainly it's my feeling that it's the rule that the OLCC rule goes further than the statute does. The statute seems to allow renewal of licenses for existing processors. It's the rule that doesn't do that. And again, this is nothing Estacada controls, right? We're at the whim of OLCC on that. So, you know, I mean, if you wanted absolute belt and suspenders certainty, you could go ask a court in a declaratory judgment. You know, that's a sort of third option, a much, much more expensive option. But again, it's the question is whether or not the council wants to move forward with the ballot title. I mean, with the ballot measure. If you do want to do that, then the next step is do we need to get some additional data?
Okay.
So could we grandfather the existing businesses and include in the verbiage that the grandfathered businesses could sell and whoever bought it would be grandfathered also, and then ban the rest? And then we would have an election. And I'm thinking if we do that ban, then there would be an election in that November you guys talked about. And then if the citizens decide they are okay banning cannabis outright, then we could go back and ban the grandfathered ones.
No, you can't. Okay, so the only thing you can do on your own with respect to this limiting cannabis is the code change that we have put forth right here. In order to ban processing as a land use matter, you have to take it to the voters. That's the only way we get from here to there.
Okay.
The question is whether you want to take it to the voters with there being a lack of clarity about how non-conforming grandfathered uses would be treated if the measure passes, right? Because you can't start banning it till the voters approve the ban. And then, and yes, the language of the ballot measure could make clear that the city's intent is to allow non-conforming uses to continue and to allow those to be sold. But that wouldn't necessarily carry the day with OLCC. That's the risk here. So, I mean, do I think the risk is high? No, I don't think the risk is high. But is it worth asking OLCC just because asking the Attorney General for an opinion because it takes, 4 hours of city attorney time? I think it's worth doing because then you can go to the voters and say, we have an Attorney General opinion that says that non-conforming uses can continue, and that might assuage some fears from your existing processors.
Yeah.
If that's what's important.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
That's all right. I was just gonna say, so the ordinance is kind of the stopgap measure that updates the definitions and has the odor control and the inspections of the sites included. So that's what would be put in place now. And then that makes anybody new that wants to come in have to get a conditional use. And then the council could decide, in addition to that, when you want to bring back a ballot measure, do you want to have an Attorney General opinion? Those kind of things. So it's kind of two separate, the ordinance is the stopgap measure and updates those things that we really needed to update that we've learned over the past year. And then the second question is, so we're kind of on page 249. If you wanted to look at.
Okay.
The discussion and the motion options, if that's clarity at all.
Mike.
My thought on the matter is to get the stopgap measure in, make it a conditional use. I still think that I'd like to give the community the opportunity to vote to see if that's something that they want to still have in the community, or if they want to open the door to other businesses coming in that may not otherwise. So, and then I do think it's a good idea to, for if it's really just 4 hours of time for the Attorney General to get a decision from them, I would like to hear their feedback. Personally.
Everybody kind of on that page.
I'm not understanding so what would the outcome of that be? I mean, we're still directing towards the ballot?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm
Yeah.
just asking for clarity in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I read this and it says director of marijuana licensing. So.
That was the first person they talked to. They're talking about the Attorney General now.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but we get an opinion and then we continue to move on. I get what we're saying. I don't have a problem with your
Basically-
point, but I just, at
Basically,
what point
they're
is somebody gonna have their opinion gonna count?
basically,
mean-
they're saying that the Attorney General's opinion is going to be the one that, that will present to the public. So.
I'm with Mike on this one. I think, going the motions here, definitely. Feeling out the voter and getting the Attorney General's, outtake on this is the way to go.
All right, so I move to approve ordinance 2025-004, an ordinance amending Title 16 development of the Estacada Municipal Code regarding cannabis.
Second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, thank you for that. Obviously cannabis ballot measure direction. We're on top of that, right? Everybody's good, so.
So there's
Yeah.
consensus to go ahead
Yep.
and get the Attorney General's opinion. So we have, I mean, I feel like we're pretty certain with the director's opinion, but it would be one more step of certainty with the Attorney General. And then bring back the ballot measure as soon as we can get that opinion. Is that what we would
Yeah.
do, Carrie?
Well, I think we're gonna have to, decide what election you want to put this on. You're either gonna have to pay for a special election if you want to do it on an off time, or you're gonna have to wait until May or March, or I don't know, when's your next regular?
I thought we had to do it in November of a,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so
So
we're gonna do it in
26.
November.
2026 November.
Mhm.
So, and I mean, that'll be plenty of time to talk to the Attorney General. I mean, it might be time to change the rule. I mean, there's a lot of distance between them.
Now and then.
So now and then. so.
We have
Okay,
time.
great. All right, I'm good with that. Everybody good?
So directed.
Okay, so to repeat that, we're gonna check with the Attorney General, get that opinion, bring that back to you and
Put
determine.
together a ballot measure.
Get together a ballot measure. Yep.
Not waiting on one for the other, right?
No, we don't have to
No.
wait.
Yeah, we're doing the ballot measure at the same time, that we're not waiting to hear back from the Attorney General to get started on that,
We
right?
could, because it does, we can't put it on the ballot till next November anyway, so we'd have to have it ready by August. We have to have it ready by August.
Yeah, but I think we can start it at the first of the year and have an opportunity to vet it with you all, because I think the language is gonna be really important to its success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we want to be careful of, that August seems like a long time away right now, but it will be.
Yeah, I'm
That's right.
I'm in agreement on let's get rolling
Yeah.
on what
Yeah.
this looks like. I don't want to wait until we hear and then him and haw anymore.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you for that
Uh,
direction.
next one is a big one. So Estacada Lake Apartments briefing. Now, I'm not sure why we call it a briefing, but we know where the lake apartments are. We know what we've been through with it. We know we've had this conversation. I don't know how many times. Over the years now, it's getting old. But that's why we have a council up here. So this is what we're talking about. What exactly do you need to hear at this point?
Well, some folks are kind of new to the process, and I'm not sure if you've read the briefing from Carrie. I think it goes through step by step how long, what's been going on with the process and what the options are. But did you want Carrie to go over that briefly, or
Sure, yeah. Give us a scope.
where we're at and what the options are?
You make it sound like there's a lot of choices.
No, there's really not a lot. That's true. There's really not a lot of choices, but
Okay, so, as I understand it, these apartments were, approved, through the land use process in 2023. About 7 months later, the applicant submitted building plans. The city's process, I don't know if this is the usual process, but the city sent this out to Estacada Fire Department, and
standard.
that took a long time to get through. Both, I think, for Estacada Fire to provide red line comments, and then for the applicant to get back to them. So this really hasn't been before the city for review, except at about July is when this came to the city to sign off. Right now, Northwest Code Pros, who's the city's consultant, has provided red lines back to the applicant as of August, and I think we are awaiting a response. The way the city's codes is set up, it does provide time limits, but it appears that the applicant has largely complied with the time limits. The one area where there might have been some room for some room for exercise of discretion is the time limit for design review approval, which says it's 1 year from the time it is approved. The real limitation with that design review standard, which I understand is fairly new, is that it's not clear and objective. And this is housing. And you all know we can only apply clear and objective standards to housing. And so I have some reservations, as I expressed in my memo, that we would rely on this to invalidate the land use approval and then be challenged because it's not clear and objective. So when Melanie does and Elena do their code update, we need to change this so that it is clear and objective and imposes clear standards for deadlines for things to get done. The other thing I want to say quickly about how long it's taken for the building permit phase to get through. There's a new law that will take effect in June of next year that requires all building permits to be processed within 120 days. So the city's process of taking it to the fire department and then taking it to the building official is not going to work. It's going to have to be faster than that. So as we look at these time limits, I think there's an opportunity to revisit them in a more holistic way so that things go through faster. I know that's not what you're concerned about with this particular application, but it highlights that issue. Unfortunately, there are no real time limits from the building code side. Building code processes are generally looked at as long as you are making sort of taking steps, you get to continue.
And that's where we have the issue.
Yeah.
The steps that have been taken have not been taken. There's no good faith building going on over there. There hasn't been all along, and there never was. So sitting here talking about what the rules are going to be in June or whatever the case may be is understandable. But at the same time, there's a lot in this project you don't know that has gone on over this time where the city has helped them with the plans, done the work for them on the ground, helped them back and forth several times, and they keep coming back with a plan that doesn't exist. So we're a lot further along than what you've probably kind of been fed into. But I would like us to make a decision based upon what everyone in this city has to do when they apply to build something. And we are not doing that with these people. We have went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth so many times. And it's just, it's gotten to a point where, right or wrong, I have to stand on this because everybody has to follow the same rule and they are not. And they've found ways to get around that. I might add, they've went and applied with the county and did all that they needed to do to get around that, but in good faith, and that good faith has never happened. So we are right back here addressing this very problem. And I want the council to make a decision tonight based upon that, because all the development that goes on here looks at this. And if we let one person do this to us constantly like this, what does that say for every other development that wants to come in? I can't do that anymore. And I'm willing to take the risk on this because I believe there's a lot more behind this that is not being addressed. So that's why the council is here tonight on this very thing. Where do we go forward on this? And maybe I hear from Mike and then Matt.
I had a couple quick questions. If we nix the application, can you walk me through what the process is for them to restart it?
So they would submit again for the downtown design review. But since the rules have changed, they can apply for an exception to the change in the zoning with the ground floor residential. And they could have the ground floor residential. So in effect, they would pretty much be allowed to have the same plan.
Are they going to require to change any of their plans?
So everything else on their plan met our code requirements, and they are not necessarily clear and objective because some of them are you know, does it match the surrounding roof lines? It's not necessarily a clear and objective standard, but their plans, everything but what they wanted to do with ground floor commercial would have meet the code as it is, and they can apply for an exception for that ground floor commercial because it's housing.
Will they change their site plan?
I would not expect them to have to change their site plan because our code has not changed requiring any changes that would.
Other than them resubmitting the exact same packet back to the city, what would it be doing? What would be the negative impact on them?
Well, it's gonna cost them more money, but, and more time.
Because it's gonna go through the same, so when they resubmit their packet and it goes to fire that's already looked at it and red marked it, are they changing anything?
No.
Yeah, so to speak, it wasn't I wouldn't say it was the fire district that held that up. It was when the fire marshal would send back what needed to be done, then there was this very slow response time.
Yeah.
So I don't want the fire marshal to think that we think that holdup was because of their process. It was.
Well, that wasn't what I was implying. I just went into the different departments. It's gonna go back to all the same departments, the
Yep.
same
Yes.
paperwork.
Yeah,
Yes.
it won't change much. It would-
Okay.
If we nix this, will it open up opportunity for other investment, other investors, other buildings? Will it give an opening for other people to have the opportunity? Or is it just them that have the opportunity to build there?
I believe they
They-
own the property,
Okay,
so they are the
okay,
property
so they
owner.
own okay.
I mean, do we have proof of transaction or anything? I mean, I, I understand to your point where you're headed with your direction on that. Well, if we do this, all it does is cost them more money and then it goes through again. When we're talking about that exception for housing that they could look at, is that in ink official now, that
That-
new measure? Like, or is that another June thing?
No, it's
For-
official now.
It's official now?
Yeah.
Okay. And then my other question is with that, there's still what I'm more interested in this is the aesthetics of respect and process. Okay. And the part that was left out of everything you just did in reading people up was the part where they went around us. They did not meet our timelines at 6 months originally, then 9 months. Okay. They had 9 months from the original one. That's what the committee gave them.
Mhm.
And then when we revisited this in January, it was, well, they submitted this behind us after we went 2 months of asking what was going on with this project. We've heard nothing. So it should be done. This should be a dead thing, move on. That's answering the community's questions that they're asking us. I'm just replaying from my memory here. Okay? And then we were told, well, they did this loophole where there was a glitch in the system in the county and they got 6 more months now. And then we asked after 6 months what happened and somehow 6 became 9. And now today we're sitting here there's one more. And then at the last council meeting where this was brought up, it was, well, we believe that they're close now. Okay. So we're just sitting here waiting on a developer to tell us that they're ready now. So what about our timelines and what about process? Okay. And respect. I'm into this for the precedent set. It's not my property. I'm not the one developing it. I'm not the one building it. I have no stakes in this. I do have a responsibility to my community to make any and everybody that builds in this community follow the rules. And I don't think it's good faith to go around us and pick and choose what they involve us and communicate with us about. When was the last time they sat here to update us? That's another great thing. So
Not since I've been on council.
yeah, well, so to me, incurring more costs on them that's not my problem. What I care about is respect the process.
So, hold on.
So just playing devil's advocate here, what's the legal ramifications if we nix this as the term's been used? What are we liable for? What can they do? What can they bring upon the city of Estacada legally? I mean, what damages can be done to us, the city?
Well, I haven't, thought that through all the way, but, it would depend on if the, city invalidated the building permit or invalidated the land use approval. In either case, I suspect we would get a, what we call a writ of mandamus, where you go into a court and you order the court to order the city to approve the building permit or the land use approval. The other thing that would worry me about rescinding their land use approval, just without any due process like you're talking about, is there is an entity, agency in Salem, called the Housing Accountability and Production Office that is very concerned about cities not interfering with the production of housing. And I would worry that a complaint might be filed with HAPO is the name of the group. And that HAPO has the power under the laws to take over the city's zoning in the case of enforcement actions. HAPO was just created last year, so we don't know how many bad actions have to happen or alleged bad actions have to happen, but we don't want to be the poster child for that. So
Show me.
my advice would be, if this is the way the council wants to go, we need to invite the applicant to come and talk to you about what they propose. And give them an opportunity to, work with you to meet your deadlines. I mean, there's the question of timeliness, and then there's the question of what's being developed. Right, and the city has approved the development itself. So we can't take that away unless they're being too slow, which is what you're saying, right? They're delaying, whether it's a real project. I mean, they ought to have an opportunity to voice that.
So how long to you is due process? Is 14 months not enough?
Well, it's not my opinion. It's not my opinion. It's what the code says.
I'm sincerely asking, like, from your opinion on due process, if you've been given timelines multiple occasions and you do not meet them.
Due process means having notice that a consequence is happening.
So when we told them.
So
you
if
have
we sent
9
them a
months,
letter and-
this is done and they did not do that, is that not due process?
Did you tell them that what would happen to them if they didn't do it?
The committee? when
They gave them 9 months and they actually met that time frame
Were
Did
they
or
informed
no,
about
for the
today's
design
meeting?
committee.
Were they informed about today's meeting that we would be talking about it?
No.
Okay. I think good faith has gone out the window.
Well, I'm listening and it's like, who's driving the boat?
Not us.
There's this process right, but there's this process that seems to be going on, and I'm not sure anyone actually knows who's done, who's on first, what's on second. It almost sounds like that. It doesn't sound like there's been good faith, but I don't know, because I don't know what's actually happened. I would really be interested in, I don't know what this looks like or what, of getting the staff in there and finding out what's happened and when, finding out if there's things that we can do to help drive this boat, or I'm not even exactly, it sounds like it's such a mess. Can we actively partner with them? Can we help them, engage in developing the site? I don't know. It just sounds like
You miss some of this, history of this is the city has already been down that path and did a lot of work for them early on with our people, getting them all the information they needed to get this plan right. In fact, we invited their team in on a screen to go over some of the details. One time I remember, and city time has been spent on this numerous times to help them get it right. And we did this free and clear. This is what the city's done in the past, because that's just the kind of city we are. All right. We don't do that for anybody. They usually have the plan when they come to the city, but the city's helped them get that plan there numerous times and helped them through the hurdles as we went along before we ever got to the committee who gave them the 9 months. So there's been a lot of history here. Some of it you missed. That's why I'm at this point where that line needs to end. I'll take the risk in all facets you just mentioned, because I believe there's a lot here that hasn't been talked about and that is missing from this whole project. And the way they came about this project has been up in the air. There's no, I mean, when Peter was here, he was starting to look into it because there were just so many empty holes on this project. And I don't want to be stuck in the middle of this going along and have wasted all this time and effort for nothing. That's a beautiful property down there on the river. It should be respected. And the fact that this is taken to this point and we're still talking about it is ridiculous. Whether they have to go back to square one or not, whether they take me to this court and put this on it, it sets an example. We cannot keep saying, okay, because that's just wrong.
So does Estacada run Estacada or does this court run Estacada? Because we're
The point
trying,
is, she's giving us all the options we may face.
Yeah,
And that's her job to do. I understand that completely. Jerry.
So answering your question, the city won't, this council won't partner with this. There was a very large group, a very large part of this community that was completely against this project in the beginning, just based on what the project is, 1-bedroom and studio apartments. So,
Only studio.
so
well,
no
it's 1-bedroom
family
and
dwellings.
studio apartments is
Only
what,
studio.
that is what it was presented as, 1-bedroom and studio apartments. So, if this council at the time could have, this council would have voted against this project completely. I probably would have, it probably would have been a 5-2 vote against it, but this council couldn't, because of the standards, because of code, because of our obligations, we couldn't vote against it. So as far as you're saying, partner with them, that'll never happen. Because again, there was a large group in this community that was completely against this. And I'm not saying that I was for the 1-bedroom and studio apartments, because I wasn't. But to answer your question about partnering, it would never float.
Isn't that moot though? Because it's been approved already.
Yes.
So it's not, that part doesn't really, I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't think that part matters anymore because we're past that. It's been approved. So now it's, what can we do to get this where we want it to go?
Just as much as any of you, I want resolution on this. And personally, I would rather not see high rises over there in in that area, because it's a beautiful area, overlooks the river. But, as far as what we're able to do, I don't know that there's really anything.
I don't know what what permit number it's under, but I see that they sent a pending expiration notice out on the 6th that was due by today. Did they figure that out?
Six,
Permit number, it says Estacada Lake Apartments LLC, 2805, blah, 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 site address 600 Beach Road. Change of occupancy on second floor from R1 to R2 for
That-
monthly
that
rentals.
is-
This is a modification of,
And that is not for the apartments. That's for the hotel.
for the hotel.
Yes.
Did that get done?
I don't know if that got done. That is completely unrelated to what we're addressing tonight.
I guess, well,
What they're
my
asking. for
question is
yeah.
that a pending expiration notice went out on this building permit number. Permit number 297-25-128 is the end of it.
Mm.
And I guess when does that triggering event happen for that other permit?
So according to the state building codes, it says that was the in good faith that we are arguing isn't necessarily in good faith. Every time that they have been issued something from the fire district, say the fire district gave them 6 things that they needed to update, they would update 1, resubmit it, because that would push the clock out.
Okay, but I mean, on this particular one, I'm just trying to get to why this letter got sent out.
I don't know about
Oh,
that
it just,
project. For
if you go into Excel and search 600 Beach Road,
Yeah.
it's a pending expiration notice.
For
And I'm just
today.
curious what the triggering event for this letter going out on October 6th was, that it's not triggering on the other permit. Why there's an expiration notice for the permit being triggered for this permit number that was pulled a year later, and
would
there
be-
isn't.
There would be expiration notice, like if they were getting to that 6 month, because there's like 6 months you have to do
It-
something
yeah.
or it drops, but they would always do something within the 6 months. which
Oh, they would
push it out.
reply.
So like
Yes.
for right now, the Northwest Code Pros 2 months ago. Gave them back stuff they needed to revise and resubmit. It's been 2 months. As far as I know, they have not submitted it. Why are they waiting 2 months? I'm not sure. So I think one option that is here is that if we do want a greater certainty as to the timing, we could send them the letter that says within 30 days from the date of the letter, they need to have completed building. I'll just read it so I don't mess it up. Revised building permit application and plans within 30 days of the date of the letter, or the city will return all plans and other data submitted for review, close the file, and deem the design review approval expired as well. So that gives them 30 days to get things wrapped up, because otherwise it seems to, and then it would be, if they miss that deadline, they've been warned, and then everything goes back to them to start over, because otherwise they'll submit probably something, unless they're ready to go, and they're very close to the end, and they could just submit it all and be done, or they could continue to move it out, and then that leaves you with uncertainty as far as when this project will get done.
Okay.
No doubt that he was
and-
first.
Okay.
So if I heard you right, using the fire marshal,
Mhm.
6 things that need to be fixed. They fix one and then that restarts the clock.
Yes.
Is that common or normal? Is that-
No.
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 And so, and that's been done repeatedly. And so, and this is totally not my
Yes.
realm for Carrie is, is there a bad faith element?
They're playing a game.
Well, I'm asking the attorney though, because I mean, that's where we're at.
So in my experience, it's not unusual for developers to play that game. Because they're waiting for the interest rates, they're waiting for the market, they're waiting for a lot of things. I mean, and funding, there's a lot of reasons why developers would play that game, is they're just sort of keeping the design review that they got before the code changed, because they knew the code was gonna change. And so they're just keeping this alive. And so I don't think that makes it bad faith in the legal sense of the word. I appreciate that you think it does, but it is allowed and developers do it.
So are they required to put some kind of like earnest money or something like that? I thought I
They
read,
paid for the building permit to be reviewed, the plan review.
well, but I thought I read that once a development is approved, then they have to put like 5% down or some percent if it's under $1 million or if it's over 3 million or something like that. And have we seen any evidence at all that there's funds to do this?
That, I think what you're talking about would be for like a subdivision, and that covers the infrastructure improvements. So because this is not a subdivision, they're not building roads, they're not building, wastewater lines, water lines, they're building buildings. We don't have that kind of, that bonding requirement that we do for the infrastructure that would eventually belong to the city, because this would be all on their property, it belongs to them.
Can we ask to?
So we could ask them to come to the next meeting to speak
No, I
with
mean,
you,
the financial part.
or, oh,
Is that, can
Ah.
we do that?
If you had regulations to do that, you could, but you don't have regulations in your books to do that.
I mean, that comes back to what proof of investment do we even have? Are we being drug along on something that somebody's hoping that there's a new government program that comes through so that they can secure the majority of the money to actually build said thing? I mean, there's so much here. When we talk about good faith, who is the judge of good faith? Because last time I read that, I thought it was this council. But if I'm wrong, and I sincerely mean that, correct me, please. So it is up to us to determine what good faith is, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
but
What?
these are entitled permits. These are permits that a property owner has in their hand that the city has given them.
Yeah,
They are entitled permits.
sure. And the process has rules, which good faith is in, correct?
The good faith rule is not the city's rule, it's a state rule.
Oh, even better. But who, and
So,
who do
and-
they deem as the judge of that?
That that's who we contacted, the board, the building, the whatever. It's in the-
Building BCD.
The BCB, yeah.
The-
We contacted the
Board
board that is the
Oregon State
regulatory
Building
agency for building codes. And they're the ones who responded regarding what is in good faith, which is it's in the letter.
Okay. So, yeah.
No.
No. Okay. All right, so we've come to an impasse here, so I'm gonna help us out here. What does the law require from this point on? Do I have to give them a 30-day notice from this meeting right here, or can we vote on this?
What are you gonna vote? I mean, what is the motion that you're gonna vote on?
Well, the vote is to take it back. Take it back to the planning commission, take it back to our planning department and start over again is what I want to happen
So you want to rescind the land use approval and the building permits at this meeting?
at this meeting. But if that can't be done, if there's a 30-day waiting period that I need to give them, then let's put that into process, whichever way that's going to play out. This is what I'd like the vote to read going forward. I don't know how you feel, council, but this is where I'm at. I'm making this call based upon my feelings. Yeah, that's why we have a council. So you can decide this. But where are we at on that?
My recommendation would be that you give the applicant notice that you're going to make a decision to consider rescinding their permit on this day. And so that they have notice that this is a date certain when the council will consider it. As it stands right now, the applicant does not know that this is being considered.
One more point for clarity. The permit that you read, that was not pertaining to the apartments, but to the motel park,
Yes,
same ownership.
yes.
So they are aware of the process then that their permit had an expiration date. Now,
Yes.
granted, this was specifically for the Red Fox, but they would be aware that this is the process,
And
correct?
that is,
And
that
that's
is why
what
they've
they're-
been doing the 1 out of 6, because as soon as they resubmit something, that starts that clock over again.
So they are aware of that.
So they are aware of that.
No, and you have to understand, Sam's still in this whole process.
Who's,
If you sell a property to a new owner and that new owner owns the property, Sam would not be a part of it still. He is. And there's a reason for that, because the deal they have for ownership is between them. Whether it's been bought or not, or whether the funding has come in or not. And that's the key element we're all missing here. So, yeah.
who's deeming the submissions complete?
As far as,
responses.
as the building,
The responses, who's deeming the responses complete? If they're only answering one of the 6 things, who's accepting it as a complete submittal?
so
Yep.
it wouldn't be accepted as complete. It would start the clock over again. The building official or the fire marshal would say, you have corrected 1 of 6, and here's the response for the other 5 that you need to correct. So it hasn't been deemed complete. It is right now.
No, I just meant the submission, like when you come in to submit for a permit
Yes,
and I give all my paperwork to Mads,
yes.
Mads says this is not complete.
Mads.
We can't accept it.
Mads looks at it and says, you have submitted the form and the plans. And as long as the form and the
Correct.
plans, Mads will say, I have everything that's on the checklist, the form and the plans, or whatever
Gotcha.
these are. And then it gets sent to the fire marshal or the building official, and the fire marshal or the building official will say, this does not meet fire code or building code. And at that point is where they have to respond with the update, the 6 things. Here's, the fire lane is not close enough. You need to have, more fire sprinklers or whatever it was that triggered those things from the fire marshal. At that point, after reviewing the plans, that's why they pay the plan review fee. After reviewing the plans, they'll come back and say, here's the 6 things you need to update on your plans. So Mads just says, yes, you have submitted plans. Mads doesn't review the plans.
No, I
that say,
understand that part. I just meant like if you were missing truss engineering and it's required in the submittal, she wouldn't take it as a complete submission.
Yeah, they wouldn't take it
So
as
if
a.
we have a review letter that says you need 5 items, I'm just curious if we can't get to where we force them to complete it, to submit a complete submittal.
That might be that 30-day notice, or say at the next meeting at October 27th.
Just stop
meeting.
accepting incomplete submittals for responses.
It, It's not that they're necessarily incomplete, that they're wrong. So that they've submitted all the information that we're requiring. They're submitting the plans, but the plans don't show information that meets the building
So it
code.
doesn't get recognized until the person in that department's reviewing either David Lee Fight at Northwest Code Pros or
Yeah,
the fire marshal. I
or the
see.
fire
Yeah.
marshal. Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
This seems like it could go on until you get money from heaven. How do we stop it? You know, how can we legally put some kind of endpoint on this? You know, I've heard citizens come in and complain about, you know, look what you're letting happen to our city and that kind of stuff. And look what's happening to us with all this, my words, nefarious activity and that sort of thing. And we've got no control. So how do we get control?
Well, they just said that the 30 days is what I think I'm hearing. This gives them an opportunity to get before us with a finished plan. Once and for all, no exceptions, done deal. That's what I'm hearing.
So if
So-
it doesn't pass, if they don't submit everything and it's 100%, how many times have they submitted this? They should know by now how to do it properly. So if they can't do it properly, good faith by, they have to start over from scratch because clearly don't know what they're doing.
Well, they just resubmit their plans.
I
They
mean, I know
could,
they know
or
what
they
they're
could
doing.
get them issued in the next 30 days and
That'd be
they
great. wouldn't
get
it?
there, but then are they gonna build? And then you're still gonna be in this position.
They're on the clock with the
Have
building
decision, and
permit.
they've got
Yeah,
full
they
permit.
do
They're on the
that.
on the clock for a year
Yeah.
to build.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm in favor of the 30-day.
In,
to get
in
them-
what way though? Is there gonna, yeah, I mean, this is about as clear as mud,
Uh,
quite frankly. I mean, it is. So I'm with you on the 30-day, but in what directive? You have 30 days to prove what? Complete and proof of ownership, transaction of property. Can we require that? Because I mean, right now we're saying that they own the property, but the original property owner, to the mayor's point, is still involved in the
And I
process.
think that's irrelevant though. We're not to dictate who
I
can do what
understand
with the
that, but
property. That's,
can we prove that the property is actually moving, or is this just all a paperwork facade?
I don't think it has anything to do with the building permit though. I just don't think we would have the jurisdiction to be able to even start
This is
asking
just a
questions like
question.
that. So.
Okay, with
Yeah.
the 30-day, get them in front of us with a plan of some kind that is actually happening. You know, I want to see it all right there in 30 days.
30 days.
And then that is where we make the decision.
Okay.
That
can
gives
I-
them an opportunity for clarification.
Okay, clarifying question. So let's invite the applicant to come at the meeting on
October 27th.
October 27th and to discuss this with you. And the letter that we send them, inviting them to come on October 27th, tells them that in 30 days from the date of the letter, which would be if the letter goes out tomorrow or the next day, it'd be 30 days from then. If they don't have the permit in hand, it will be revoked.
That's
Do you like those two steps, or do you want them to just come on the 27th and on the 27th you'll decide what you want?
I want it to come in hand. I want it all there on that day.
And I'd like the letter to go out.
And I would like to
Tomorrow.
vote on the 27th.
Yes.
So that's not 30 days.
So not 30 days, just next session.
Okay, so on the 27th, you want them to have the permit in hand and you want them to come and tell you what they are going to build and their schedule, their timing.
Can I make a little timing clarification? It can take up to 10 days for Northwest Code Pros to review the information. So if they submitted it, even
September
if they,
29th
okay,
was the last review letter that came out was
8/15, they were sent additional info needed. They sent out a plan review letter. Based on the review letter, they needed more accessible units, truss designs, et cetera. They
was the
have
4 items, right? And then on September 29th, they submitted revision documents, building permit, building 2 revised construction plan set, updated building 2 truss packet, building 2 structural packet with engineer stamp, and then the responses to the 4 questions. If it's the same, but I'm tracking off of permit. I don't know if it's the same permit, but it had 4 items from multi-tech that they responded to on it. Low income elderly multi-service room not found on plans, stuff like that.
I don't have the
Okay.
letter in front of me. I
It
don't-
looks like they responded on the 20, it looked like it's been past I would anticipate seeing a response from David or someone in the next couple days to that submission, if it's the right permit. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to have Mads look up the permit. I don't have that information right in front of me.
Oh,
But
it still says
so-
additional info needed, so it doesn't, I don't think
Yeah,
the response has
I
been
know
cataloged.
that we sent them an email on 8/15, or David sent them an email on 8/15 saying additional info needed.
Gotcha.
So there was some kind of permit or something like that that just expired like today or something like that for the Red Fox, which is owned by the same people. What's the impact of that miss or whatever? I mean, what was that for and how does that relate to the apartment complex?
It doesn't relate. What they asked for is a change of use. So right now it is short-term rental, so they can't stay that longer there than 30 days. If they wanted to have long-term rental, so over 30 days, they have to file a change of use, which means they'll have to do some updates to their building. And that is specific to that building. It does not impact anything they're looking to build in the apartments.
But I thought I remembered on the plans for the 8 buildings, they were gonna take out some of the Red Fox
They're annexed.
annex building.
It's partially, I don't even know, it's partially demolished. It's just, it's
They-
not completely demolished yet.
Well, but I mean, don't you need a permit for that? And if
Yes.
there's no, I mean,
They got that.
The demolition
They
permit.
got, yeah, the
Demolition
demo
permit.
permit.
They're gonna demolish that and the storage units that are down there.
I was told the fire department was gonna burn it.
The fire department did practice in there. So they did a lot of that, but it's still standing. Code enforcement had them fence it off so people couldn't access it, at least.
Okay, well, I think we're right back to that 30-day or whenever we decided to have them come in. It's a mess, trust me.
Mhm.
And it's been a mess for a long time, long before some of you have been here. And I'm at that point where I can't sit back here and just let somebody railroad the city the way these people have on this whole process. We have a process for a reason. And that's really where we're at. It's just getting them to follow process without going around us, without skirting us, without any of this. If they just follow process, I'd have been happy, but they can't. And that's why we're here. So all I want is clarification. I want them to come in here and give me a set time that they're gonna start building, that it's gonna happen. Because a lot of plans in our whole city are revolving around this too. So the fact that they're sitting on this and not doing anything is ridiculous. Gary.
So my question is, are we asking them to come back on, in 14 days, in 2 weeks to our next meeting, asking them to come in and then making our decision that night? Or are we asking them to come in that night and then giving them, a certain amount of time? Because it sounds like if they submitted it tomorrow, there's not a high chance that they're gonna come in at that meeting in 2 weeks with a completed permit. Just because of the timeline that it takes to get that permit reviewed. So that's what I want to know is, are we asking them to come in 2 weeks to talk to us and give us, tell us what they've got going on, and then we're going to give them time to get the
When they come in
permit?
in those 2 weeks and they can sit in front of me and show me that they're doing what they say they are and it's happening, I will give them the 30 days. That's not the issue.
How are they gonna show you that if their permit hasn't come back from the review process?
Show us something.
Okay.
Why don't they have it done yet?
I'm just asking the question just for
'Cause that would be good
clarification.
fit,
I
like
understand
we're-
that, and
yeah.
my brain did go there.
Yeah.
I've been involved with this since the beginning, and it's been a giant disaster from the beginning. So I get that, I do, and I completely understand where you're coming from. I'm just trying to, clarification, what timeline are we giving them? What do we want What do we definitely want to see from them? What can they put in the letter that we want to see from them to prove that this is moving forward? That's what I want to know. And I'm sure that's what they want to know
I'm
also.
hoping when they come in this room in this 14-day period, they can sit in front of me and say, okay, we've got a plan. Here it is. This is what's happening. These are the date. I expect the final permits to be inspected. And then we're going to start this process, maybe in the spring, maybe whatever. But they give me concrete. This is what's going to happen. I'm not going to hear bits and pieces delivered to me that are falsehoods or getting around the real process here. I want fact. You put it in front of me, I'll give you all the time in the world. If I see that your intent is to finish that. They have done nothing in good
Well,
faith.
what's to stop them from coming in with coming in and telling us all of that stuff? And then for us to be sitting here again in a year, having the same conversation. I want to get, just like you guys, I want to get to the point where I want to figure out what exactly we need to see from them and then give them a definitive timeline of you need to have a complete submitted or a complete permit with everything done by this date, or we vote to,
Send you back to square one.
yeah. That's kind of where I want to be. I don't want to just, let them come in and tell us what we want to hear just for us to be sitting here again in a year, having the same discussion, or a new council to be sitting here in a year, having to have this all explained to them because they haven't been involved in it. I want to, if I decide not to run again, next term, I want this issue to be done. I want it to be done before I'm off this council. If I decide that that's the route I want to go. If Mike decides he doesn't want to run again, I'm sure Mike wants this issue to be done before he's off this council. So I want to give them the information with enough time for them to come back to us with what we want, which I guess we need to figure out what we want, and then a definitive timeline that they have to have a completed permit. They have to have this permit completed by this day, or this council is going to vote to rescind it. Rescind everything.
Would you be comfortable is there a way to do both? Invite them on the 27th, but also start the letter tomorrow that says you have 30 days to meet the requirements in full.
So on that 30th
30
day, whatever they've submitted, they submit it. And if it passes, when that gets reviewed at Northwest Code Pros, then it'll get issued and they can go forward. And if it doesn't pass, they've passed the 30 days and we send it all back. We don't send a letter saying, oh, please correct these things.
Right.
We just send it all back.
Yes, can we do both? And in sincerity, because you have been here out of all, between you and the mayor, the longest dealing with this, would you be comfortable with that? Because this is not about any personal feelings outside of, we know what the community feels. And then also we know the circus show that we're being drugged through. And quite frankly, it affects the way that we are seen as leaders and decision makers.
Absolutely. I would be completely comfortable with that, having a definitive timeline. I'm sick of coming back to this and coming back to this and coming back to this. And it's been, what has it been? 16 months since we've seen them in this room?
Yeah. And there's no guarantee they'll come next time.
I got something I want to say about that. If they don't show up, what I'd like to suggest, if they do not show, then we rescind it that day.
I think the 30 days.
30 days, we'll give them the
You
30.
give them the letter, you do due process, to Jerry's point. You give them definitive timelines one more time.
But this is it.
I think Carrie said it when you send out the letter, and it was going to be 2 points in the letter. It was request them to visit with us and then give them the consequence, I think, whatever the word was. Well, why not just send the consequence? Why? We don't really need to see them. Just give them the consequence. And then if they just give them the 30 days.
Well, because my sense is that you have a lot you want to say to them. And I think it would be good for the council to have an opportunity to say it. And I think it would be good for there to, if there are any misunderstandings or, of the facts, you ought to give these applicants an opportunity to present that to you. That's all I'm saying. You don't, you know, that's my recommendation.
We go above and beyond on public notice on this too. Let's just wrap this up. I don't want this to turn into a secrets thing. Can we go above and beyond, make sure that we let the public know that the 27th,
If that's the case, we're gonna have
It'd be
100 people in here,
great, Let 'em hear
150
it.
maybe.
let them hear it.
All right, I'm all
Double,
for
that
it.
would be great.
All right,
Okay.
Fill the room.
I think we got a
Okay.
plan.
All right, so the plan is to send out a 30-day deadline for submitting complete application or complete building permit.
For submitting or for having approved complete
To
application?
complete the
Or-
requirements needed for staff to prepare your permit for issuance and then pay for any remaining amount due, so the permit will be issued.
Yes. So Northwest Code Pros
That's
might
off
not
of
be
the
through the
expiration
review
letter.
yet, but no more changes will be accepted after the 30 days.
Correct.
Unless it should be just ready to issue. And we'll invite the applicant to come and speak to the council the next meeting.
Perfect. So do we need to vote on this or is this something we?
I think we've got the instructions. Anybody else want to add?
No, I think we've got enough.
The dead horse is right there.
Wendy's.
All right. So I'm gonna move on now, unless somebody else got anything else to say on that. We're at sponsorship request, American Legion, Post 74. That's next on the list.
Okay, yes, get to that. All right, so as requested and directed by the council, we've put together a online application for our local nonprofits to be able to apply for funding through the community grant sponsorship program. And we have received the first one, and it is submitted. I guess you might want Jim to come up to talk about it.
And can you step up the mic, please?
It is
Yeah.
for, oh my goodness. The American Legion Post 74. I can't remember how to say it. Thank you, Penny. And so he's making this request and can explain what the funds would be used for and whatever questions you may have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Yes, hello. Again, my name is Jim Moriarty. I'm the commander of the Post 74 American Legion here in Estacada. I have my answers here. I can read them, or if anyone has any questions. Last week, we had our quarterly meeting. So we went from $4,000 that we donate to high school seniors, and we're bumping it up to $5,000. So we'll have 5 seniors will get $1,000 each to go to college come May of 2026. So that's in addition to all this. Does anyone have any questions? Counselor?
Well, this is more towards,
Oh,
where do I stand as being a active member of the Legion? I can't vote on this?
Or are you gonna put the money in your pocket?
No.
Oh, then
Yeah.
you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you have no direct financial.
You have no financial gain, that's right.
Okay, just curious.
I hope
Good question.
everybody reviewed this. This is exactly what, this is exactly what these funds are set aside for. So I would like to move to approve the sponsorship request to the American Legion, the amount of $1,500.
I'll second that.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Thank you. Jim.
excellent. Thank you, Mayor.
Please thank your organization for what they're doing for our kids.
We'll
And
do.
thanks for following the rules.
Thank you. Thank you, Sadie, for the easy form. Thank you.
All right. Next on here is the city attorney appointment. I'm sure that's why she vacated in this process.
Plus, if we don't need any more help, then
No.
that's fine.
All
from here.
right.
All right,
you-
so yeah, I'll just turn it over to you. Both of the proposals are in the packet and you interviewed both candidates last time, so.
So I like the fact that Bateman Sidell stepped up when we were in need. They stepped up when we were in need. In the very early part of this process, they weren't sure if they were going to be able to step in full time, but they have stepped up and applied to be our full-time attorney. So my recommendation would be for Bateman Sidell to retain Bateman Sidell as our city attorneys.
Okay, any discussion on that over here?
I mean, I've read the input that she's given us, and it's rock solid. I'm pleased with the quality of the information that we're getting. I don't necessarily always agree with it, but it's good stuff.
Okay. Anybody else?
I liked the zeal and the passion from the gal from Cable Houston personally. I do appreciate, to your point, that Bateman Seidel, I do appreciate that they stepped up and they're available, and whether we agree with what she's saying or we like what we're hearing, I do appreciate that she comes put together. But that being said, I was really impressed with the charisma from Laura is her name. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names, but I was really impressed with their charisma. I liked their energy. She seemed very passionate about what she wanted to do. She seemed eager to take on different kinds of challenges and very versed in different formats of law. I'm more leaning towards that. And then I honestly, also, I thought her respect and candor for the way that she addressed the council and she talked to us was a lot more there. The first time Bateman Seidel was in here, they downplayed Councilman Dolza right in front of everybody, and for him asking questions about their history, just simply asking questions about in the interview process. And I personally don't appreciate that candor. This is legal representation we're talking about, and whether you like what we're asking or you don't, we're the ones hiring you. We're the client, and I don't like being talked down to or talked like we're kids. That's just a personal thing. So I am leaning towards Cable Houston, and I'm excited about their charisma. It really spoke to me personally.
Okay, any other discussion?
No, I agree with both, but definitely the charisma of Cable Houston was, and I like the way they answered my questions about their experience in a lot of the development information or questions that will be needed around Estacada as it grows. And yeah, I'm leaning towards Cable Houston as well.
Okay. Any comments?
I think we'd be well served by either firm. I'm leaning towards Laura myself.
Okay. Okay, Melissa? Anything?
I kind of feel the same way you do, but I like the fact that with Cable Houston, they had so many different variety of backup people, not backup people, but the intel that they have
Support.
and support. I thought that was really reassuring, especially in recent events of us having the unfortunate circumstance of losing and I like what Jerry said before, is looking forward to not having to do that again, I think speaks in volume. So
Just to clarify, I'm fine going either direction here.
Oh,
I really am. I just appreciated that Bateman Seidel stepped up when they did in our hour of need.
Oh, I did too, yeah.
You know,
That's
I appreciated that. But I'm really fine going either direction here.
Okay.
I don't think we got, out of these two, I don't think there's really a bad choice. But to Counselor Hill's, what she said, this is what I've been recommending all along, is a larger firm. That's what I've been recommending from the beginning. So, if that's the decision of the council, I'm 100% behind it. I'll back it up. So.
Okay, so it seems we need a motion on the floor, is that right? Okay, can I get a motion on that?
Would it read? Could I read it like I move to approve moving forward with, or to appoint Cable Houston the city attorney contract for the city of Estacada.
Right, and direct city manager to establish a contract.
And so move.
All right.
Ditto.
So that's
Ditto all that.
That kind of works.
Direct the staff.
And we'll do a roll call. vote on
Second.
this, Sadie.
Need a second.
Okay. I'll
Need a
get
second. I second.
Flags on Lakeshore, my brain is. Is
All
that
right.
a first
That's
or
perfect.
second?
Yeah, we got it. And Mike seconded. So Sadie will do a roll call vote on this.
Counselor Blevins,
Yes, for Cable Houston.
Counselor Dolzall,
No?
It's fine. Yeah.
Counselor Hill,
yes.
Counselor McElroy,
Yes.
Counselor Metcalf,
Yes.
Counselor Tenbush,
Yes.
Mayor Drinkway.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Thank you for that, guys. And like he said, they stepped up and she did a great job.
They've
So
done
let her know.
phenomenal,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
Appreciate them so much.
the only reason I'm really looking at this the way I am is because I felt like they have so many different facets to their their law firm that we're gonna need going forward. I mean, we're facing a lot of things that are going to be intense. And we need all the legal I think we can get when it gets down to the nitty gritty, so. Okay, next I have citizen and community group comments. Do I have any online? No, I don't have any in front of me. So we'll move along to mayor and council reports and comments. Matthew.
This was a fun session. I want
Yeah.
to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the enjoyable conversations we had. I'd like to bring up something. I heard that we used to do this in the past and I'd like to see it again. I don't know if it has to be a motion or if we have to vote on it or what, but I'd like to see after the cameras start, before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, to have a pastor say a prayer before our city council meetings from here forward.
Fair enough. Is that something that will be looked at? I mean, do we have to?
We could discuss that again. I think when we were doing that previously, we determined that the way we do it now kind of allows for everybody to
Yeah.
do what they want to do. But if you want to discuss it, or we could put that, yeah, we could discuss it later if you want.
Well, that's the great thing about, Christianity is it's extremely inclusive. So nobody should feel ashamed for coming of any sort of belief or lack thereof or whatever, they're all welcome, 100%.
We would
understand.
want to make sure that we invite every.
Yeah, everybody
every
has to be in on
religion,
this.
Right.
I'm game for that. Put that on the next thing if we could, the next agenda.
We look at November.
It's a little
Yeah, can we
tight.
look at November?
it's gonna be tight, the next.
Yeah, that'd
Okay.
be fine. That'd be fine.
Okay.
Okay. So,
The Oktoberfest was outstanding. We make a point, Sharon and I make a point of going to all the city events now. And the only thing I'd like to see is price tags on the wine bottles, because I had no idea. But I'm a conspicuous consumer but it was a great time. So thanks to the committee. There's this quote, aspiration towards a goal is not the same as motion. And, there's a lot of, rhetoric that goes on up here, and it's all really good stuff. And I think that as a group, we're really all on the generally the same page. But it's so frustrating not to actually see things happen. And so, the city council is supposed to be the vision, and I don't know how to do this, but putting time frames on things, like for my pet peeves right now are, a time frame on getting the traffic enforcement out here. When can we do that? What date can we do that? Or, finding out what the next FTE for law enforcement, when can we do that? Getting those hard dates so that we are making things happen. Just for ourselves too, because, we all, feels like we all have a sense of frustration with things going on with, that we don't know about. And then it feels like I haven't been here that long, but we've made some decisions that then forget about, like the ant farm loan. And, did that actually ever happen? Or, whatever else we've approved. It's just kind of, it feels like we're responding to the agenda in front of us and dealing with the agenda in front of us instead of more control or driving the boat or however you want to take it. And so I would be very, very interested and very, very supportive of us figuring out a better way to do that. That's it.
so,
Yeah, I want to thank those in the audience that stuck with us, first of all. I mean, this was a long one. You listened to us beat that horse dead. I mean, we got an Elmer's glue contract coming for the city for that, I'm sure. But in all seriousness, thank you guys for coming tonight. And I do want to say that I really appreciate that in all of the heated discussion, in all of the vigor, it was respectful. It was completely respectful. We don't have to agree, but we could still be respectful to each other and how we talk, right? And I really, really appreciate that about this group. Like, I really appreciate that. we're not always going to see eye to eye. We're not always going to vote yes on the same things. It doesn't matter. We can all respect each other and we can all do the best through our lens for this community. And I really appreciate seeing that from each and every one of you. I mean that. I would, as a note to kind of back what Councilman Dolza said is, in a different way, I feel like there's a communication breakdown somewhere here. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm starting to feel like there's maybe a little bit of a communication breakdown from our expectations to tangible results, right? Like to what you were saying about casting the vision and then having a measurable thing, that actually landed on me when you said that. Because we are telling the community, yes, this is what we're working on, but we're not telling them that we'll have it done in X amount of time. And quite frankly, I think we're going to lose the community's trust if we don't start to fix this and we don't address this. I also think that if we can't get a hold of this, if we can't do this, they're not going to believe that we're the ones actually trying to make the decisions. So what's the point of talking to us if it's just going to go however it goes, do administrative process anyway? So I do think I would like to see that change. I don't know if that's through a workshop between us and the staff to make sure maybe there's something that we're doing wrong that we could be better communicators for them. I'm not sure here, but there's just this sense I have of there's a little bit of a breakdown in communication, and I'd like to see that addressed. I'd like to see the mayor included in the conversation when there is emergencies going on in this town. We recently had domestic violence that ended in a firearm being discharged next to our school, or next to one of our schools, and the mayor wasn't even looped in by the sheriff's department, nothing. How can we answer to the community and assure them safety if we're not told what is going on? And if we're isolated by, yes, I understand the school district being separate, but if the police force that we pay to be here can't even communicate with the people bankrolling them, then what are we doing? And I love our cops, to be clear. I'm very thankful for them. But the communication in this town needs fixed. And the charter is very clear on where that goes. The charter is very clear on lines of authority. And if anybody needs reminded of it, it's right there. Okay. So the power of the people who put us here elected to make these decisions. So what I'm saying with this is I would like communication to be fixed. And I would like to do that as a show of faith for this community, that one, we can lay aside differences of opinion, differences of any kind of political whatever, and that we can come together for the community to do what is best for what they want for their living situation, quite frankly. And the safety thing, top priority. No more waiting. No more waiting. With that, Melanie, I texted you earlier about this. This was awesome. My computer's been broken for 2 months. I don't even think the thing will stay a charge unless I'm plugged into it anymore. I did call Bitely, by the way, have not got another call back. I will follow up with them again. But this packet, you guys did excellent. It was noted. I mean, I was able to go through and highlight and take notes in advance. I mean, I came in ready to talk today, right? I really appreciate this. I really do. It was awesome.
All right, Melissa.
He stole everything I was gonna say, and I won't keep anybody here, but I will say, I have to, on a personal note, I won't get into details of what, but I really do appreciate everybody here at council and mayor and the city staff, because in my time of need, I reached out and I felt like I was home, and I really appreciate that. And you guys always show up, and you don't have to, but you do, and you choose to, and that's an amazing service. And I think those at home and everyone in the audience can concur to that. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate the staff for putting together a report. It's a good meeting. Thanks.
Jerry.
So I just want to say thank you to the staff and thanks for everybody that came out. Now I'm going to say some unpopular stuff. We talk a lot. We talk a lot. And I feel like tonight, as Jonathan says, we need to set measurable goals with definitive timelines. And I feel like tonight was the first time in a long time that we actually set measurable goals with definitive timelines. I'm sorry to say this, but we talk a lot, and there's a lot of stuff that we don't accomplish that we say we're going to. So I'm really happy with the decision made with a definitive, a measurable goal with a definitive timeline. And I hope that when we're moving forward, when we have this workshop with traffic and public safety, that is a continuation, that we set measurable goals with definitive timelines. Again, like Jonathan said, Councilor Metcalf said, we're losing the trust of the community because, we say a lot of stuff, but, very little is being noticeably accomplished. I appreciate the speed humps going in on Pierce. I've been watching I see the dotted lines every day on Hill Way when I drive through to and from. I'm excited to know that at least the one extra speed hump is going in. Because our neighborhoods are not safe. The main thoroughfares going through our neighborhoods are not safe. I mean, I see it, every day. Cemetery, people don't stop at Foothills. They don't stop at that stop sign. And that's very frustrating, that's my neighborhood. That's where I've lived for the past, 20 years. And then, seeing it driving through Campanella, like I said, I only drive through two neighborhoods in Estacada right now because it's my way in and my way out. In my neighborhood and Campanella are the two that I see, and just people I see going in front of me are driving entirely too fast. People not stopping at stop signs. It's just we really do need to step up, and we need to set measurable goals with definitive timelines. And I appreciate that we got a good start on that tonight. And I look forward to that workshop with traffic and public safety, where we can set some more of those goals and more timelines, where we can actually start seeing progress, seeing things get done, and prove to the community that we're the right people that they put here. Thank you.
All good, guys. You guys know how to lay it out there. You don't leave much for me, but no, I'm as always proud of all of you. You've come to the point where you don't need me anymore, so I'm not coming next time. I'm just gonna stay.
Yes, you are.
You've got it under control now.
Nice try.
No, but you guys are great. Like you said, timelines are everything. And to see that you're actually putting it to it, that we're gonna tell the people this is when you're gonna have it done and it's gonna get done. That's major. That's turning a corner that we needed to turn. We need to show them that we mean what we say, and that they have asked us for things and we're actually listening. Because we've been here doing things all along, but measurable goals are always better, and I know, and we see something done, we feel much better, right? We feel like we've accomplished something. So I think we put that out there, that that's what we're willing to do. To staff, I know it's hard on you to throw these last minute meetings at you. And now all of a sudden you've got a in-between meeting you didn't have. But we appreciate you also, and the fact that you brought everybody to the table. So thank you for that. And the people that sit out there, as always, you hang in here to the bitter end, a few of you, but at the same time, you're willing to listen to all that we go through and hear the outcome, good, bad, or ugly. You're willing to sit there, and I can appreciate that. I really can. So thank you again for a wonderful meeting. And then until next time, have a good week.